All right, episode 38. Wow, 38 episodes already.
Yeah, so we are 38% in to 100th episode.
Yeah, crazy. It's like, yesterday when we were talking about it, I was just like, oh, maybe it's like 32 or 33, and we are nearing 40. So that's almost 40 weeks. Wow.
Like actually, you know what's even funnier? Today I was going through some documents on my Google Drive,
Mm,
and and I noticed the document that we created before we started the live cast. So
mm,
so before we started the live cast, we had this brainstorm. You remember about what
yeah.
we can do together, like that it would be great, etc., etc. And I found this document. I didn't read it. I didn't have time, but I know that it's there on my Google Drive somewhere. So
Mm,
yeah, if we want to maybe for the, I don't know, 50th episode or something, we can open it up, show it, and maybe not 50th, maybe 52. Let's say it will be the whole year, 52
mm,
weeks, right?
mm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
um, Regarding
Crazy.
the topic for today's
Yes.
live cast, um, we have to admit that it was quite hard for us to come up with something interesting, and we thought that this is interesting because, like, finances, money is
Mm,
always like hot topic for every early entrepreneur. And my, let's say, the trigger for me to come up with this topic was when you have many different opinions about how you can go from being poor, or maybe not poor, but let's say middle class, and
mm.
advance somewhere, like people talking about investing, people talking about saving. And of course the truth is probably somewhere in the middle,
Mm,
but we will try to de- debunk some of the myths that you hear about money, and talk it through our perspective, our experience,
yeah,
right?
I think money is one of those things that we don't really talk often enough. I don't really talk a lot about money when I was, in my family, for example. Like people don't talk money. I don't talk about money with my friends because I think people have a lot of insecurities or perspective around money, and no one likes to be proven wrong, right? Because money is like a tangible thing, everyone works hard for it, so no one likes to be proven wrong about how they see and use money. But if you're starting a business, then you will have to deal with money issues. It's just the way that it is. And I think today we are no money experts, so we have to say that all the information shared or what you're going to hear over the next 20, 30 minutes is all just for informational purpose only. We are not giving any financial advice. We are not financial gurus. We are not financial experts. And you are fully responsible for whatever financial decisions you make in your own life and your own business. So we have to keep the disclaimer up so that we don't get ourselves into trouble. We get our legal assets covered. But yeah, I think we're just going to talk about how we choose to deploy money in what we're trying to build in our business, and I guess just getting a balance, right? Because you and me, we both use our own money to build things up. We don't get like funding from some, you know companies or venture capital, right? So we sort of bootstrap our little way up there. So yeah, it'd be interesting because I'm sure you and me have got very different views of doing things. Um, so yeah, do you want to go first, Dan, or shall I? I know we haven't really structured this, but can
No.
think of a few questions, so I can maybe ask you, and then we can kick it off that way.
Okay, so I would like to start with one of the,
Okay.
um, let's say most repeated myths about
Mm,
saving money. So so I have heard it quite often when people were talking about saving money, and they were saying like, "Oh, cancel your Netflix, cancel your
Yeah.
this, that, stop buying your Starbucks coffee, etc., etc." And it's not totally true, because let's be honest, like, it's really relative to what you earn, let's say. So like, this Netflix, right? It's like £10 per month.
Mm,
So even if you are earning bare minimum, it's
mm.
still very small. Like, I mean,
Affordable.
minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
It's still very, very small percentage of your total income. Of
Mm,
course, if you save Netflix for a whole year, you will have 120. But what you can really buy with 120?
mm,
But you have to also think, like, maybe rather think of this Netflix in categories whether it's a distraction, or like it's whole different discussion around
mm,
Netflix, right? So I
mm,
wouldn't say that, yeah, cancel your Netflix to save for something else, right? But
mm.
but for example, when it comes to, let's say, coffee, right? Starbucks coffee, assuming that you take let's say you buy one or two Starbucks coffee every day, and Starbucks coffee is like what, £3 to £5. I don't know. I know that in Poland, like, it's like £4 for Starbucks coffee. So
Mm.
if you like accumulate that, then you will have really handsome sum there, right?
Yeah.
But also, if you think that this Starbucks coffee, I don't know, makes your day better and helps you to, I don't know, function better, so
Exactly.
maybe it's a good investment after all. Who
Exactly.
knows?
Exactly.
Um, I would rather, you know, um, I would say that, of course, it's not wise to spend too much on consumption, right? But I wouldn't say that you have to live as a monk, let's say, right? If something makes you happy, then from time to time you have to spend money on that, because you cannot really live unhappy life and achieve something. Like,
Mm,
um, I okay, there are some stories about people who lived very unhappy life just to, I don't know, to preserve themselves to get to their goal, like
mm,
to I don't know, they put themselves through this suffer, right? But for me, you have to enjoy this journey, right? So if something makes you happy, why don't you just buy it? But
mm,
of course, if you cannot afford it, or if it causes some financial constraint on your monthly budget, then, like, you should be smart enough to see that it's not the best financial decision, right?
mm.
But for example, oh, okay, so for me, like, from time to time, I like to collect, like, assemble Lego
Yeah.
bricks, right? So for example, here I have in front of me, I have this, Lego Technic car. It wasn't big spending. It was like, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds. So not extremely expensive, but it made me happy. I could afford that, and I didn't really feel it. So yeah, I
Mm.
did it.
Yeah. I think I like, let's finish off on this monthly subscription thing. I think there are lots of uh people say, oh yeah, you should cut, coffee is like, okay, 3.40. Okay, let's say $4 or whatever, okay. A cup of coffee, if you save it every day, then you would save 30 days, $120. And then if you multiply that by 12, that's like, oh yeah, you saved like $1,000. Can you see how much money you are losing by just wasting on a freaking cup of coffee? And I was just like, okay, but why don't I spend a bit more time and effort thinking about how can I earn $2,000 so that I can afford that coffee, right? it's like I love what you said. It's like don't just take advice for advice. Like if the money you're going to spend on buying that coffee on Netflix actually helps you to relax, to re-energize yourself and get you ready, is part of your routine, then absolutely do it. So I think the key here is like when you spend that money, are you spending it intentionally to get something? You know, if you're just having a Netflix because you're lazy to cancel your subscription and you don't actually watch it, then I say, yeah, absolutely cancel it because you're not using it. But if you really use it, you really watch it, and it gives you a sense of relaxation, it helps you to think about things. If you're watching documentaries, for example, to constantly grow yourself, then I don't understand why you shouldn't do it. Um, so I guess it goes back to when you spend things like this, are you spending it intentionally? I think that's the one thing. And I think the key thing about that theory is that are you actually wasting money in some places that you actually don't need to, right? So I guess that's the key thing. Yeah, but I've actually got a question. You know, if we go back to setting a business, etc. So obviously, Dan, we did an episode where you did bootstrapping, right? So you use your own money, etc. How difficult, or how did you decide how much money to put into building your own business when you first started? So, for example, like me, I wanted to start like coaching, etc. Right? So I decided to go, okay, I have got some money that I want to save, some money I want to invest, etc. But I still carve out about 10 or 15% about my monthly income to go, okay, I think this is the money I'm comfortable spending to consistently sort of like run Facebook ads or get systems, websites or whatever. So that's kind of like my thinking process, which is I go, how much money am I comfortable spending, considering that I've using my money on some other areas of my life. So that is like my way of thinking. So it's almost like, and I have to admit, I probably didn't do this good enough, which is I go, what else do I prioritize first? And then I was like, I'm taking the safe option of using the money that I've decided to use to build up the side hustle. So I didn't start from there first, if you see what I mean. So I was just like, okay, I need to save X, I need to invest Y. So what's remaining is Z. Okay, Z, I'm going to use that for building my side hustle. But when you jump into building a full-time business, you clearly have to spend a lot more money in building it up. So what sort of fear or decision-making process go through your head at that time?
Uh, you know what? The thing is that my business was really low capital intensive.
Mm,
So um, I didn't make any. So I was at some point I started investing in it, but
mm,
mostly it was investment in myself,
mm,
in growing my skills, in developing my skills. But also I did some, advertising for my business. Uh, it was also the process of learning for me, because like I was learning Facebook ads really
mm,
with my own money. So it was good that I was earning. I will be honest, like I was learning Facebook ads with someone else's money, because clients, right?
mm-hmm,
But also I was learning it also with my own money, and I told you the story when I invested over like almost like £500 in advertising on Facebook and LinkedIn,
mm.
and I didn't earn nothing from it, right?
Yeah.
So right now, I'm not really spending much money, to be honest. Like I'm spending, I'm um hmm, I think no, I'm spending money on growing my business right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also looking for ways to do it for free or with my time, let's say. So also money, you can also say money, like if you convert like time money. But if you have some spare time, you can use it up for some other things. So for example, I don't know, I'm trying to grow organically on Instagram, my business profile and my personal profile. I don't spend money on promotion
Yeah.
because I don't see a need for that right now. There will
Mm,
be a need for that in the future,
mm,
but of course, it's not my let's say primary concern at the
mm,
moment. Like, I think you should assess your financial decision through the angle whether it's, of course, whether it's beneficial and necessary for your business. If there is
mhm,
something that you need for your business because you will not survive in your industry without it, then buy it.
mm,
But very often I'm trying to look for for the best, let's say, uh, value for money option.
yeah.
So let's say website builder, right?
Mm,
I had for so I was making these stupid mistakes that for months I was paying for this quite expensive website builder called Unbounce. I had some websites there.
mm,
One was for the client, but I wasn't earning that much money from this client to cover it up. But I was also using it for my websites, and I thought that it's necessary. But then I realized that I didn't get any. I didn't really landed any client from any of the websites that I had through this website builder. So I realized, hold up, I'm paying like £100 every month
mm,
for what?
yeah.
And it's not bringing me any money. So I'm
Mhm,
investing in it, and it's not bringing me any money. So that's
mhm.
why I canceled this subscription, and I have a bit more money now. Uh, but
And you
yeah,
use some
it
other tools, right?
um honestly at the moment I don't even have a website
Ah. Oh,
because
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we talk about it at,
Mm,
like I'm spending £60 now on LinkedIn sales navigate at the moment. So I'm trying something different, and uh, it's it's also sometimes that you are when you are trying new thing, you should not invest in everything at the same time if you cannot handle it at the same time. Let's say, because people think that if they invest in things, but then they lack time to handle those things,
mm,
it's fine, but it's not. They are
mm,
wasting money. So you really
mm,
need to think that, oh, should I invest in it? But based on will it profit me in any way right now or even in 1 month or 2 months? Because if you uh, s- sometimes we get into the trap of thinking very long term, like years,
yeah.
and we tend to make investment decisions uh, in these terms.
Mm,
It's fine if you have like if you have loads of money, then it's fine to make investment decisions looking through the perspective of 5 years. But if you have limited resources, then you rather think about what's going on right now.
yeah. I always sort of think like, if you because every money you spend is like an investment, right? Obviously, we all want the investment to work out. We all hope that we can throw $1 in, get $2 out. We all want that. But the truth is that the money that you spend, there is also a likelihood of it going to zero, right? So it's almost like when you see it, it's I'm just thinking like, you're talking about this, and I just wonder like, can there be a different view for what is return on investment? Every money that we spend, we want to get more money out, obviously, but for me, for example, I think I'm quite lucky, I'm not like desperately short of cash. But when I do things like this, I don't just pay so much attention on how much money can I get back. I will also maybe pay attention on what can I learn and what social capital can I build up, because those things might be able to give me or bring me in more value in the slightly longer term, So I think, like I said, I have the privilege to be able to do that. But if money is a bit more tight, it's a bit more scarce for you, then I think it's quite important for you to be really careful about where do you spend your money, how much do you deploy, and how do you know you won't suffer on your daily life, like you're having roof over your head, having food to eat, etc. It's like your basic needs to be looked after first. Then you can decide how much money can you spend on the other things that matters to you. Obviously, when we talk about basic needs, we don't talk about you having to eat super luxury restaurant every single week. Those are not necessities. We're just talking like what is the absolute minimum that needs to keep you alive. Once you get that sorted first, you can work out, okay, how much do I have left to be able to invest in my business, in my hustle, in my whatever. And then you have to decide what sort of return are you aiming for, because most of the time we just spend, we didn't expect what kind of return we want. Is it financial return? Is it knowledge return? Is it social capital return? There are so many different versions of returns, right? So I just think, maybe people haven't thought enough about what they're expecting to get back when they spend that amount of money. They just spend it, thinking that, hoping that something will come back, but they don't have clarity on what is it that they want to see.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I definitely agree with you, and but sometimes the return is different than what we expected, right? So for example, when i
Completely.
when i lost 500 pounds on
Ads.
on advertising, and I didn't had any financial return, I at least had experience return, right? So I thought to myself like, okay, it's it's good that I may made mistakes while operating with 500 pounds,
Mm,
and hopefully I will not do the same mistakes while operating with 500,000 pounds, right?
exactly.
um but you know what, I think there is another important thing that people don't think of much, like often enough when they start their business. It's
Mm-hmm.
cash flow.
Cash flow.
So we focus on profits, but we don't focus on cash flows. And believe me that cash flow might kill you, let's say, might kill your business, might make you go to a regular job, uh, because like I was lucky enough that I had someone who I could rely on when I had problems with cash flow.
Mm,
But at some point I had major problems with cash flow because I had to pay people who worked for me, but not all customers paid me on time. Like
mm,
it's it's quite often that people don't pay on time
mm.
with at least in my country. I don't know how it is in
No
the
idea.
west of Europe, but apparently in the west of Europe it's better. The culture of paying on time is there, but in
Mm,
Poland it's not. Like people up, like um, I told Zane about it.
yeah.
I have told about it here, but one of my ex clients, they used to pay me like at some point regularly. They paid me like two invoices at once. So
Mm,
they didn't pay after every month, but they paid every 2 months, and they paid for two invoices. And once there was a situation when they didn't pay me for over 3 months, and they paid three invoices at one after almost 4 months. After almost 3 months since the first of those invoices. And actually, I stopped working with them at the end of September, uh, and we have half of November, mid-November, and they haven't paid me for September yet.
mm,
And you know what's funny? Like, actually, among all the clients that I had and that I have now, they were the biggest ones. Like re like a company making millions of zlotys, and,
mm,
and still they are very, very late to pay for my services, which are not super expensive.
mm.
Let's, in the context of how much they make. So yeah, like, um the good thing, the thing that worked for me when it comes to cash flow, uh, was a credit card. So I took a credit card to get some additional cash flow, and I think you should use it,
Mm.
but use it for necessities, not for stupid consumption, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Don't
That
take it to pay for your, I don't know, Gucci belt or Moncler jacket. Take it if you want to, I don't know, run your business, and you want to pay for something in your business, or maybe you don't get enough money from, like, or maybe you will have to wait a bit more time to get a payout from your business. Okay, pay with a credit card for your like basic needs like food, right? But definitely do not use credit card to pay for expensive and unnecessary luxurious
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah. It's important. I think great point is that I think credit card is a great thing because you are temporarily using someone else's money so that you have a bit of cash on your side, basically. So basically, you're delaying the payment of the cash using someone else's cash, right? So if you're using credit card, for example, the rule you have to give yourself is to make sure you pay it off every single month. That's certainly the rule that I give myself, like all my payments are pretty much on my credit card, but I never miss a month of payment. Obviously, that then builds up your credit score. And then guess what? The credit card company will then come to you to say, oh, we can see that you spend X, Y, and Z. We're going to give you more credit. That means you have an opportunity to use more of someone else's money. And there is more temptation for you to spend it. And then suddenly you go, oh, I don't have enough cash to spend it. And they say, oh, don't worry, just pay minimum payment of, I don't know, $25, and then that's fine. The rest you can pay the next month. But this is when the snowball starts rolling. So you have to use credit card in such a way that it's almost like a debit card. You only spend the money that you have and that you can spend. um, but obviously, with a credit card, it comes with a lot of other perks as well. So if you're smart enough about it, you can actually build up points and all the things like that. So you're making more out of your money, basically. So now, when I go out and when I see that if people don't use a credit card, they still use their debit card to pay for things, I'm just like, why? Why don't you use a credit card? Because a credit card it's just, I think you're just missing out if you're not using it. Yeah.
Funny thing about because like I don't know if you mention it, but using credit card is also good for building your credit score. So once you would like to take out a loan in the future, then it might be easier for you if you have some positive history with using credit card.
Yeah.
um funny story with me and credit card is that a few months ago they called me to offer me like way bigger credit than I
Yeah.
have on my credit card,
Yeah.
like over double of what I have now.
Mm.
And they offered me this based on um, my employment. Like officially I was employed at that time, but of course I was running my business.
Mm.
Never mind, like let's don't go into specific, but the thing is that based on the information that I was employed uh, in the past, they offered me double
The credit.
the the credit. And then I said, okay, but you have like outdated information about my income, because right now I'm not employed anymore.
Mm.
I'm running my own business, and um, and my income from my business is double on what it was when I was technically employed.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, so let me verify now what we can propose you with your current like situation in
Mm.
terms of income and employment, right? And
Mm.
she said, okay, so after I checked, we cannot offer you to double your credit on your credit card. We can only increase it by 20%.
Oh,
I
goodness
don't.
me.
I'm not sure how it is in other countries. If they favor more when you are employed by someone else to get a loan, or to get a credit card. But at least in Poland, if you are like self-employed, if you running a business, um, very often you are in much worse situation when it comes to getting a loan or credit on your credit card than people who are employed on some form of a contract.
Yeah. Maybe to begin with, if you don't have much credit history, they will base it on your employment history. Um, but I think this goes back to my point about if you use a credit card, you need to make sure you pay it off on time every single month fully, because that shows the credit card company that you are able to cover off your expenses every single month, and that just builds up your credit score. And then I think when you get to a certain stage where maybe it doesn't matter whether you're employed or self-employed, because it shows that it proves that you have the ability to be able to pay off your money every single month. So that's why if you're using a credit card, I think it's super, super uber important that you pay it off on time every month. Yeah, so you're going to say?
No, no, no.
Oh,
I agree with you. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, okay, cool. Um, do you have any specific thing you want to talk about in terms of money?
No, I think I said everything as to, let's say, best of my knowledge. I think I think it would be good to repeat this kind of episode in one year time and 2 years time, because I guess financial intelligence grows with the business growth. Like I know that I have learned a lot about finance this year.
Yeah,
um Definitely I know more right now that than I have known, than I knew a year ago. So yeah.
yeah, exactly the same for me. I think financial literacy is something that the school doesn't really teach us a lot when we were studying, but it's so important when it comes to whether it's business or it's life. It's just like so fundamental that you have to get it right.
Let's not start with what school
Teaches
what
us.
school doesn't
Ah,
teach us because the best example for me is that we all had like language classes, whether your native English language or English or whatever, and still
mm,
you go to the to you go and to work for the company, and you will get like a training on how to effectively communicate via an email, right? And
mm,
actually, effective email writing should be part of teaching at school. Let's be honest.
yeah,
You learn how
yeah,
to analyze a poem or a novel, but you will not learn how to write an effective email or a letter or whatever, right? So,
mm,
so that's a problem with educational system. But yeah, that's whole different discussion. Let's
exactly.
finish today.
That's a whole different discussion. Okay, cool. So okay, we can stop this disclaimer now because no more financial advice. Well, we're not giving financial advice anyway. But if you enjoyed the episode, follow us on Instagram at the Newborn Hustlers on Instagram. Hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy, and obviously we will be more than happy to hear what thoughts you have. Just leave a comment below and we will make sure we read it, and then we might create an episode out of it if you have something you want to ask us about. Cool. Anything else, Dan? Or we'll leave it there? Okay, you're waving now, so it's good. Okay, see you all, have a good one. Good
Bye.